watch her bring that airplane right back down onto the deck as she goes off that left end zone. And now she reaches left end zone. She punches that airplane up in the vertical. Straight up, straight up, straight up out there off that left side. Brings that stick back on her lap and comes back at us here. Susan dedicates her performance to that barnstorming era of aviation. That time when flying was new, when aviation was romantic. And again, she would, the young person would make their living by taking those World War I training airplanes with names like Jenny and Standard. They'd come to a town like Crosse or Prairie du Chien or Monroe, and they would make arrangements with a local farmer to use their hayfield as a makeshift runway, because of course there weren't beautiful airports like the Crosse Regional Airport to operate out of. And then they would work, they'd come around to the edge of town, and they'd do their advertising by doing some loops and rolls as they on the edge of town there to let people know, hey, one of the newfangled flying machines is in town. And they would hope that the folks would get in their horse and buggy or their Model A or their motorbikes and come out to that farm field and you take a ride in one of those. That's how they made their living, by selling rides. They brought aviation to the masses. And well, I'll tell you what, some days everything went great. They had fantastic weather. The crops had been good. Cows were milking. Everything was going great. And boy, these guys were high on the hog. They get the nicest hotel in the town. They get a nice big steak for dinner at the end of a hard day of flying. And everything, when flying was new, most people had only ever seen one of these machines on a newsreel at the local theater. But what a treat it is. We watched Susan carve in the sky up to 493 slices out on Big Red. Again, the reason there were 10,000 of these German biplanes built, and they were used as the primary trainer of choice throughout the World War II time frame. They had different designations. A PT-13 had a 225 horsepower light foaming engine in it. Probably the most common was the PT-17 with a 220 Continental, and of course the Jacobs powered airplane was known as a PT-18. The Navy versions were known as an N2S. They're called the Yellow Peril. As we watch Susan come right back down our show line, and of course the reason so many of those 10,000 airplanes from 1940s have survived is because they've always had a reason to be. Throughout the post-World War time frame, so many, probably 90% plus, were converted into aerial applicators. That's right, crop dusters, where they went to work as throughout the country and throughout the world as crop dusters, and they changed, put bigger engines in them, much like Susan has on her airplane, and took the front seat out, put the hopper in there where they had a big basically a tank that kept the chemicals in there. That's what how these airplanes made a living throughout the 40s, 50s, 60s, and into the 70s until they were replaced by the much more advanced turbine-powered airplanes and the custom specialty built airplanes we see today. But as we watch Susan fly right now, you can see she's very thoughtfully color coordinated the paint job in this airplane. She has the sunbursts on the top, she has the checkerboards on the bottom, and she flies the airplane right on up and across the top. She goes straight up into that vertical off the end zone there.